But that was the message that he started his ministry on, was people trying to work their way to God. And he had experienced this grace in his life, this freedom in Christ. And he preached that message. So here's what Paul is dealing with when he's speaking to the Ephesians church and the Galatians church. Here's what he's speaking. They're talking about religious issues. You read through it, you can find religious issues all the way through. The washing of hands, the eating of meat, clothing they would wear, clothing they couldn't wear. All these religious points that they had to do. James, on the other hand, he's not dealing with religious issues. James is dealing with laziness in the church. Lazy believers. Those that say, well, it really doesn't matter what I do. It's all about Jesus. Yeah, you're right. It is about Jesus, but isn't there something that we are to do? Didn't he pass the baton to us? Oh, no, I'm not, to take the baton from Christ. And we see that. James chapter 2, verse 14. What does he say? My brothers and sisters, if people say they have faith but do nothing, their faith is worth nothing. If they say they have faith but do nothing, their faith is worth nothing. Can faith like that save them? James is not saying that you're not saved by grace through faith. He's not saying that. He's saying, but the kind of faith you're describing to me, that kind of faith can save you? You're talking about that kind of kumbaya, sit around the campfire until Jesus comes back? He said, isn't there a purpose? Dude, I am his brother. I know. I sat there. I heard the messages. I can tell you firsthand, there is a purpose that we have been saved by grace through faith. And he's saying the kind of faith you're describing to me, it doesn't add up. And so James says, are you thinking? You're fooling yourself if that kind of faith is going to save you. So what is James saying? That faith that does nothing is not faith at all. Faith that does nothing is not faith at all. So James and Paul are fighting two different enemies of thinking, we might say. They both use the same word, works, and I think that's where people get hung up. They both use the word works, but they use them in two different ways. That's what I want to talk about for the next couple of minutes. They use them in two different ways. Paul uses the word works when he talks about Jewish laws, when he talks about the letter of the law, when he talks about things like being circumcised because of the law. Here's what I want you to understand. Most of what Paul talks about is combating outward works, outward deeds, outward. Doing it so people will see you, doing it so people will hear you pray, giving so that people see you put the money in the offering. It's kind of like the old Nike commercial, the Nike ball. You remember as it rolls up to the edge of the cup that it pauses for a photo shoot and then the ball rolls in? Paul's talking about people who give money in the offering, and as they're giving, they pause so you can see Big Ben on it just before it falls in the plate. He's saying there's a motivation for your giving, there's a motivation for your doing, and it's all because of outward deeds. It's the motivation of the heart. So that's what he's talking about, the outward. On the other hand, James is talking about works. He's talking about lifestyle. He's talking about what should be the lifestyle of a Christian. It's totally different. Here's what I want you to understand. The works we do, we do them because we are Christians, not to become Christians. We do them because we're Christians, not to become Christians. Do you understand? I had someone mention to me after the last service, when they heard me say that point, they said, a dog doesn't bark to become a dog. He barks because he is a dog. You don't do works to become a Christian. You do works because you're a Christian. Do you understand the difference? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Kenny, you should know. God didn't create eggs. He created chickens. I just shattered someone's dreams right there. You thought rabbits. You thought rabbits. I'm sorry, Sage. Sorry about that, baby.